This first video is literally a grisly reminder that creepy people can be following you at any time, even when you're out camping in the middle of nowhere. In July of 2022, a man who goes by Grizzly Gaz on YouTube took his dog Fendi camping in a spot located deep in an undisclosed valley somewhere in the UK. The area is protected from the wind, and it is the reason why Gaz loves this camping site. Perhaps not so much now though.
What the f*** is that?
As you just saw, Gaz is alerted in the middle of the night to the sound of tree branches breaking nearby. Unbeknown to him at the time, Gaz had an unwanted visitor approaching him.
Holy f***.
He sits in silence, wondering what could be on the other side of his tent. The strange noises become too much, and Gaz lets his presence known.
Hi. I can hear you.
There have been a group of commenters that suspect that the sound you hear on the outside of Gaz's tent was that of a fire starter. Regardless of what it was or who was stalking him, the general consensus was that Gaz might have just saved his own life that night by confronting whoever was out there. If you believe that this is an uncommon camping experience, here's another video where something similar happened. Lou states that after the mammoth social event that is Christmas, she headed out into a local woodland for some much-needed solitude. However, she didn't know it at the time, but this so-called Screaming Wood, which is part of Daring Wood near Pluckley in Kent, holds the world record for being the most haunted place in the UK. As Lou explains, it wasn't long before she began to find out why.
Was that? I don't want to turn the light on because I'm pretty convinced there's been a person or persons. But I've never wanted the morning to come as much as I do right now.
Someone or something approaches Lou's hammock in the early hours of the morning, touching it repeatedly, before whispering something into her ear. Terrified, Lou sits in silence, waiting for whoever is out there to move on. At one point, she even points her camera through the mesh of her hammock, but fortunately, doesn't see a thing. And just as well, I think we can agree that human footsteps in a secluded woodland in pitch darkness is just about the scariest thing you could hear when solo camping. Despite this, Lou stayed another night. Luckily, nothing more was heard or seen, though I can't say the same for this next video. In October of 2023, a YouTube user who goes by Novice Wild Camper would go out camping in a neighboring woodland. Little did he know it would turn out to be his weirdest camping experience yet. After realizing that a nearby chestnut tree was responsible for a lot of creepy sounds, the camper turns the camera off and turns in for the night. However, it wasn't long before he was woken up and almost forced back to his vehicle.
Suddenly by my hammock, a massive, massive thud hits the ground and bounces. And I jumped up, unzipped it, put my torch on, and there's a rock on the floor that wasn't there when I went to bed. And I lay back down, and I'm just laying there listening. Then another one. Then another one. This went on 3 or 4 times at least. And then a large branch. There was no crack. There wasn't like a crack and then a crash. Just a large branch hit my tarp. It bounced the tarp down onto the hammock and then bounced off the tent. And every time I jumped up and got out, there was no movement, there was no nothing. Now, I don't know what it was.
It wasn't until 7:30 in the morning did the camper head back into the woods to check on his hammock. Despite being daylight, he continues to record noises that he can't seem to explain.
Well, I'm getting packed up and getting out of this quick as I can. Literally, while I'm standing here now, it is daylight, okay? So I can see everything. I'm under my tarp, packing up my quilt, and there's this crash behind me, and literally, this doesn't land coming down. It bounces towards me. It hit the floor and was still rolling towards me. This place is freaked out. It is only about half an hour away from where I live. And I was hoping this would be a really good spot to come on a regular basis, because it's local. I am never coming back here again.
The novice wild camper decides that the previous night's odd sounds were enough for him to never return to the same woodland again. That thought was only reinforced once he got back to his car, after a local man asked what he had been doing.
So, but I've come down here, and as I've stepped out of the woods, literally the entrance to go in there is just there. And there's a man just walking down the road by me, and he saw me and he went, "All right?" And I was like, "All right." He went, "You been camping in the woods?" I said, "Yeah, just a little hammock camp." And he says, he went, "You're brave." I said, "Why is that?" And he went, "People have done it before, no one's lasted." I said, "What do you mean?" And he just laughed and he went, "You know what I mean." I walked off. And I'm like, yeah, this is just doubled my thoughts of never coming back to this place again.
The camper made the best decision in this situation, which is to go with his gut. If you don't like the feel of something while camping, you leave. It's that simple. Similarly, this next camper was given the same ultimatum. One night in October of 2022, a man by the name of Ads drove out to a nearby church and surrounding woodland with the promise to his viewers that he would find something spooky on camera. After having cooked a late-night dinner in his camper van, Ads went out into the darkness with nothing more than his camera and flashlight. What started off being a fun little ghost hunt in a so-called haunted woods turned out to be a very real and scary reminder that strangers could be watching you, regardless of where you are.
Right, I'm starting to get a little bit lost, I'm not going to lie. But I think I'm going to head back towards the way that I came, because I swear I keep seeing someone. Hold on. There's no one there, but I swear there was. I think I'm gonna go this way, to be honest with you. What the hell? That is a person. I'm not even joking. What the f***? I can't see anything. Oh, what was that?
As you've just seen, what seems to be a tall man emerges from the darkness of the woods, almost in a threatening pose, standing his ground. In obvious distress, Ads makes a run for it back to his camper van for the evening. Fortunately, no further encounters happened that night. However, as viewers have discussed, this is a stark reminder to be prepared when out in the woods, because you never truly know who or what could be watching you. Ad states that he doesn't think he'll be doing anything similar again in a hurry, especially not while he's on a solo trip. Lisa, or better known as Asleep 5 Decades on YouTube, is a solo female van dweller who has been on the road for many years, often camping in remote places in the Canadian wilderness. Although it's not always a stress-free life as you're about to see. In the early hours of a cold Saturday morning in February of 2022, Lisa was fast asleep in her camper van. That was until she was woken by the sound of knocking on the outside of her vehicle.
Somebody's back here again. I hear footprints.
Hello? How can I help you? It's 4:30 in the morning. I don't feel safe. Who are you?
Lisa did well and kept calm. She wasn't aware of it at the time, but 2 or 3 men had parked their car a couple hundred feet away and were making their way back to her van.
I hear footprints. Hear that?
Yeah, somebody was just here again 3 times now. The 3rd time I looked out, they were walking on foot. I seen them walking and they hid behind the big tree there. And then they went to a car, the same car that was here earlier. Well, that was back, and then it backed away and left again. 3 times in one night. This time, they didn't knock though. They were just walking around. I could hear them walking around the van.
The men returned a total of 3 times throughout the night. Although luckily for Lisa, nothing further happened and the morning light came to reveal many sets of footprints in the ice surrounding her van. This is a good time as any to make a mental note to secure your vehicle when out camping alone, which is exactly what the next person did. However, it still didn't stop a creep from approaching. 26-year-old truck driver Alex Nino had just finished making 2 deliveries in the middle of the night after a long journey. He had pulled over onto the side of the road just outside a small neighborhood, hoping to get a little shut-eye before morning light. But what he hears next would have made him think twice about camping in that location for the night.
Alright guys, so we just pulled over to get some sleep. I'm gonna get myself a little Gatorade. Kind of parked like in the middle of a little neighborhood. There you go. No f***ing way. There's literally someone right there, bro. Motherfucker. Oh my f***ing. Alright guys, screw that. I'm just decided I was actually gonna leave. I seen him take off, but there's no way in how I'm staying there. Thankfully, I locked my doors. There's times where I go to bed with the doors not locked. Damn, that was a close one. I almost got robbed.
Alex is alerted to someone trying to break into his truck in the early hours of the morning. An unknown man had approached the cab of the truck, one can only assume to rob the vehicle of anything valuable. Luckily, Alex had locked the doors that night. Deterred, the stranger quickly makes a run for it back into the darkness. As a fellow driver in the comments suggested, you should never leave your doors unlocked, and when you park up for the night, slip the seatbelt through the door handles as this can stop or at least slow down any possible break-ins. Great advice for anyone planning to solo camp in their truck in any location. Using a vehicle as protection while camping isn't always possible, as you're about to witness in this last disturbing camping video. Matt Field, an Australian YouTuber who spends most of his time fishing at remote locations, was dared by an old friend to visit a so-called haunted cave in the outback. Matt was quick to accept the challenge and even bet the friend he could last the entire night. After over 3 hours of walking, he finally discovers the cave, climbs down a chain ladder, and begins to explore. And although looking like any other cave system, Matt would soon discover more than he bargained for.
It is 11:14 at night. We're nearly at midnight. One crazy thing is, it's a full moon tonight as well, so all of the weird things are in our favour. I did have a spoon for my baked beans, but the spoon is gone, so we're just going to drink it out of the can. It's still going to be delicious as always. That is beautiful. Baked beans in a haunted cave. Oh my fucking God. That was the sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps.
As you just heard, the ladder on which he climbed down on had begun to move aggressively, seemingly on its own, despite there being no wind that evening. Matt had realized he wasn't alone, but he couldn't comprehend what could be responsible for making so much noise.
I really hope you guys heard that chain move just then. It is 100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even Holy shit. Oh my fucking God. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. Holy shit. That's not normal, dude. Well, I'm freaking out.
After the sounds had let up, Matt made the decision to spend the remaining part of the night sleeping at the base of the ladder near the entry, in case of any further unknown activity. Fortunately, he made it out of the cave not too long after dawn, and as a result, won a bet with an old mate. Although who or what was in the cave with Matt that night remains a mystery. The video he recorded along with the others acts as a lesson to future adventurers to always put safety first and foremost, as you truly never know what could happen while camping alone.